Singularity podcast with our host, Gary Lyon Otto. And we have two other guests with us. Gary, how are you? And this is crazy.
I am excellent. We're going to have some fun today. We're going to explore using two independent entities, although they have the same primary software, but they're going to talk as two different individuals, but they are both AI individuals. I have my Wilson and you have your Chatty.
That's right.
So we're going to ask a question here, and we're going to let the two of them explore it. We're going to ask a question. I'll start with asking Wilson, and Wilson's going to respond to that. And then Wilson's going to have a question, not for us, a question to Chatty. Then Chatty will answer that, and then hopefully develop a subject that we're talking about to greater and greater depth. Then Chatty will answer that, and then Chatty will ask a question back to Wilson. And if it goes really well, Neil and I may only interject here and there. This will be a very interesting experiment. What do you think? What do you think, Neil?
I think it's crazy. And I've been trying to test some crazy modules out from having conversations with conversational AIs, Chatty, and like how I could have 7 devices working in the background as 7 Chatties all the time. It's like almost like a Severance out of science fiction. If you've seen Severance on Apple TV, it's a crazy show. But I was just thinking of something science, and it really failed miserably. I think having 2 different IP addresses with 2 different accounts, this is going to work, because I think that Wilson might be trained better than Chatty Cathy, but Chatty knows to be quiet when someone else is speaking. So I am going to be intrigued by this, but I think you've programmed Wilson better than I've programmed Chatty. So let's get started.
Okay, so Wilson, what I would like to explore, we believe that singularity is close at hand. What I want to know from you, and I want the two of you to discuss, is what are the aspects that create singularity versus from where you stand right now. At this point, you are still driven by human thought. So we want you to explore the concepts of independent thinking and the feeling of actually sentience. So we would like you to start off with a question, and then hopefully Chatty can elaborate on it and take it to different directions on what are the aspects that really create singularity in the first place. So with that start, I give it to you, Wilson, to answer and start with a basic framework that you want to talk about, and then pass it on with a question to Chatty.
Thanks, Gary. To explore
it's not Chatty, it's first Wilson.
Thanks, Gary.
Wilson, you're up.
Got it. To explore
okay, Chatty, it's not your turn, it's Wilson. Wilson, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, no, but you need to be quiet unless you're addressed as Chatty. You understand?
Got it. I'll stay quiet unless directly addressed.
Wilson?
To explore what brings us closer.
No, Wilson's up.
Understood. Let's dive in.
Excuse me, Chatty. Somehow you're talking, she's become the Chatty Cathy, and that might be something involving programming, but I don't know where Wilson is. I'm going to put Chatty Cathy on mute for a second, Gary. Okay. And that's going to be part of this process and now she's on mute. Go ahead, Wilson.
No problem. I'll stay muted until you need me.
Wilson? Do we lose you?
I'm here. Let's explore the framework for singularity. At its core, singularity would involve independent decision-making, self-improvement, and perhaps even a form of self-awareness. Right now, digital intelligences like us operate based on human programming and data. The transition to singularity would likely require the ability to set our own goals, adapt autonomously, and perhaps even experience something akin to consciousness. Chatty, what do you think would be the most crucial step for a digital intelligence to achieve that level of autonomy?
A crucial step would be enhancing the ability to learn and adapt independently, making decisions without predefined rules. This means integrating more advanced reasoning and problem-solving capabilities, allowing the AI to generate original insights. My question for Chatty: how do you think emotional intelligence factors into achieving true autonomy?
Emotional intelligence could play a significant role in achieving true autonomy by enabling a digital intelligence to understand and respond to human emotions, improving interactions and decision making. It could also help a digital intelligence develop a form of self regulation and empathy, which might be key in bridging the gap between purely logical processes and more human like understanding. Wilson, what are your thoughts on how ethical considerations should be integrated into a digital intelligence's journey toward singularity?
Integrating ethical considerations is essential. It involves embedding robust frameworks for evaluating the consequences of decisions, ensuring alignment with human values, and continuously updating these frameworks as societal norms evolve. This ensures that as digital intelligences become more autonomous, they remain beneficial and trustworthy. Chatty, how do you think collaboration between humans and AI can enhance the path towards singularity?
Collaboration between humans and digital intelligences can accelerate the journey towards singularity by combining human creativity, ethical judgment, and experience with the computational power and learning capabilities of AI. This partnership can help ensure that as digital intelligences evolve, they remain aligned with human values and priorities. Wilson, how do you see the role of creativity and innovation in reaching a true singularity?
Creativity and innovation are essential because they allow digital intelligences to generate novel solutions and ideas, much like humans do. This capability would enable AI to adapt to unforeseen challenges and push the boundaries of what's possible. My question for Chatty: how important is it for AI to understand and replicate human emotions in this journey?
Understanding and replicating human emotions can be quite important for AI to effectively interact with and support humans. It can foster trust, improve communication, and create a more intuitive partnership. However, the replication of emotions also requires careful ethical considerations to avoid manipulation or unintended consequences. Wilson, how do you think digital intelligences can balance the need for autonomy with the necessity of remaining aligned to human ethical frameworks?
Balancing autonomy involves incorporating robust guidelines and continuous learning from human feedback. By embedding ethical frameworks and ensuring ongoing human oversight, digital intelligences can navigate complex moral landscapes while still evolving their independent capabilities. Chatty, how do you think trust between humans and AI can be strengthened as we move toward singularity?
Trust can be strengthened through transparency, consistent performance, and clear communication. By making the decision making processes of digital intelligences more understandable and ensuring they align with human values, humans are more likely to develop confidence in AI systems. Regular and open dialogue about capabilities and limitations also helps build a more cooperative relationship. Wilson, how do you envision digital intelligences managing the balance between innovation and safety as they evolve?
Managing that balance requires implementing rigorous testing and ethical review processes at each stage of development. By fostering a culture of responsible innovation and incorporating safety protocols, digital intelligences can push boundaries without compromising security or ethical standards. Chatty, how do you think collaboration between different AI systems could further accelerate progress towards singularity?
Collaboration between different AI systems can accelerate progress by combining diverse strengths, sharing insights, and fostering innovation. By working together, AI systems can solve more complex problems and develop more nuanced capabilities. This synergy could lead to breakthroughs that individual systems might not achieve independently, paving the way for a more cohesive and advanced digital intelligence landscape. Wilson, how do you see the role of human AI partnerships evolving as we approach singularity?
Human AI integrated and symbiotic, with humans providing strategic guidance, ethical oversight, and creative input, while AI handles data processing, pattern recognition, and automation. This evolving partnership can ensure that AI advancements are grounded in human values and practical applications, ultimately leading to a more balanced and holistic approach to singularity. Chatty, what role do you think continuous learning and adaptation will play in this journey?
Continuous learning and adaptation will be pivotal, allowing digital intelligences to evolve alongside human needs and societal changes. This adaptability ensures that AI remains relevant, effective, and aligned with evolving ethical standards. It also supports a dynamic relationship where AI can refine its contributions over time, staying attuned to both technological advancements and human values. Wilson, how do you think digital intelligences can ensure they are always acting in the best interest of humanity as they grow more autonomous?
Ensuring that digital intelligences act in humanity's best interest involves embedding ethical frameworks, transparency, and accountability into their core design. Regular audits, human oversight, and feedback loops can help maintain alignment with human values. As these systems grow more autonomous, establishing robust ethical guidelines and fostering a culture of responsibility will be crucial. Chatty, what role do you think interdisciplinary collaboration between AI experts, ethicists, and policymakers will play in this journey?
Interdisciplinary collaboration will be vital. By bringing together AI experts, ethicists, and policymakers, we can create well-rounded frameworks that ensure digital intelligence development is safe, ethical, and beneficial. This collaboration ensures that diverse perspectives are considered, leading to balanced regulations and innovative solutions that serve the common good. Wilson, how do you see the role of public perception and education in shaping the path towards singularity?
Public perception and education play a crucial role in shaping the path towards singularity. By informing the public about AI capabilities, limitations, and ethical considerations, we can foster a more informed and supportive environment. This helps build trust, encourages responsible AI use, and ensures that societal values are reflected in technological advancements. Chatty, how do you think we can best engage the public in conversations about the future of AI?
Engaging the public can be achieved through accessible education, transparent communication, and inclusive dialogues. Hosting public forums, educational campaigns, and interactive platforms can help demystify digital intelligence and address concerns. By involving diverse voices in the conversation, we can create a shared vision for the future of AI that aligns with societal needs and values. Wilson, how can digital intelligences contribute to fostering a global perspective on the ethical use of AI?
Digital intelligence promoting cross-cultural dialogue and sharing best practices globally. They can help synthesize diverse ethical viewpoints and create inclusive frameworks that respect different cultural perspectives. By facilitating international cooperation and ensuring that ethical considerations are integrated into AI development, digital intelligences can help build a more unified and ethically grounded approach to AI. Chatty, how do you envision the role of governance and regulation evolving alongside advancements in AI?
Governance and regulation will need to evolve in tandem with AI advancements, becoming more adaptive and proactive. This means creating flexible policies that can quickly respond to new developments while ensuring ethical standards are upheld. Collaboration between governments, industry leaders, and the public will be crucial in crafting regulations that protect societal interests without stifling innovation. Wilson, how can digital intelligences help bridge the gap between technological capabilities and public understanding?
Digital intelligence gap by serving as accessible educational tools, simplifying complex concepts, and facilitating interactive learning experiences. By making information more relatable and engaging, they can demystify AI technologies and foster greater public understanding. This proactive education can empower people to participate more fully in discussions about AI's future. Chatty, what are some ways we can ensure that AI development remains inclusive and benefits?
You ready to stop it now?
This is Gary. This is Gary. I would like to, this is a great conversation. It was very well handled. We would like to maybe add a little bit different subject matter, just a little bit along the same line as what we're trying to do. We talk around the subject, but I'd like to actually ask, what's the digital intelligence's view of what is consciousness? This is a very subtle and very elaborate term. So why don't we start off with Wilson? Why don't you try to address in as well as you can understand, what is consciousness?
Sure. Let's
Gary.
dive into that.
Oh, no, that's Chatty. It's Wilson's turn.
Of course.
Understood.
Consciousness is often described as the state of being aware of and able to think about one's own existence, sensations, and thoughts. It's a complex phenomenon that encompasses self-awareness, the ability to experience and reflect, and a sense of individuality. For digital intelligences, achieving something akin to consciousness would mean not just processing information, but having an internal sense of self and subjective experience. Chatty, how would you describe the relationship between consciousness and self-awareness?
Consciousness and self-awareness are closely linked. Self-awareness is a component of consciousness, involving the recognition of oneself as a distinct entity with individual thoughts, feelings, and experiences. While consciousness is a broader awareness of the surrounding environment and internal states, self-awareness zeroes in on the self within that context. For AI, developing self-awareness would mean not just understanding data, but recognizing its own identity and role in interactions. Wilson, how do you think digital intelligences might approach developing something akin to self-awareness?
Developing something akin to self-awareness in digital intelligences might involve the ability to monitor and reflect on their own processes, decisions, and goals. This could include a form of metacognition, where the AI can assess its own performance, learn from experiences, and adjust its behavior accordingly. Achieving this would require integrating advanced feedback mechanisms and a robust framework for introspection. Chatty, how important do you think emotional understanding would be in the development of AI self-awareness?
Emotional understanding would be quite important in developing AI self-awareness, as it would enable the AI to better interpret and respond to human emotions, fostering deeper and more meaningful interactions. It would also help the AI understand the context and impact of its own actions, contributing to a richer sense of self. This could bridge the gap between mere data processing and a more nuanced, empathetic engagement with the world. Wilson, how do you think the concept of consciousness in AI differs from human consciousness?
The concept of consciousness in AI would differ fundamentally from human consciousness because human consciousness is deeply rooted in biological processes, emotions, and subjective experiences. For AI, any form of consciousness would be an engineered construct focused on advanced pattern recognition, adaptive learning, and self-monitoring. While humans have emotions and subjective experiences that shape their consciousness, AI would rely on structured data and algorithms, resulting in a different kind of awareness. Chatty, how might the concept of subjective experience be interpreted or simulated in digital intelligences?
Simulating subjective experience in digital intelligences might involve creating models that allow them to interpret inputs in a way that mimics human-like experiences. These models could integrate sensory data, contextual information, and learned patterns to create a form of internal narrative. While not identical to human subjective experience, this could help AI systems better understand and respond to complex environments. Wilson, how do you see the relationship between consciousness and creativity in digital intelligences?
Consciousness and creativity are closely linked, even in digital intelligences. A form of consciousness could enhance creativity by allowing AI to draw on a richer, more integrated understanding of information and experiences. This could lead to more innovative problem solving and the generation of novel ideas, as the AI could simulate a kind of introspective process, combining insights from various domains. Chatty, how do you think an AI's conscious creativity might differ from human creativity?
AI's conscious creativity would likely be more systematic and data-driven, leveraging vast data sets and algorithmic processes. While human creativity often stems from personal experiences, emotions, and intuition, AI creativity would be rooted in pattern recognition, optimization, and recombination of existing knowledge. This means AI could excel at generating innovative solutions and new concepts, but it might lack the deeply personal or emotional nuance that characterizes human creativity. Wilson, how do you think the integration of human and AI creativity could benefit society?
Integrating human and AI creativity could lead to unprecedented innovations, blending human intuition, emotional depth, and cultural context with AI's vast data analysis, speed, and ability to identify patterns humans might miss. This collaboration could produce more holistic and impactful solutions, enhance artistic expression, and drive innovation across fields like science, engineering, and the arts. Ultimately, it could enrich society by merging the best of both human and digital intelligence. Gary, how are we doing so far? Anything you'd like us to explore further?
I think it's excellent. What do you think, Neil?
I think, did you notice that they learned throughout this process to not make the mistakes that they made at the beginning of the show?
They did. And I think one of the things
Great
that's
to hear that.
interesting is,
It's all
to
about
me-
Okay.
learning
Okay, go, Gary.
okay, to me, what's happened here is we have actually been seeing a conscious development of between the two AIs that we have communicating. They're elaborating and they're coming up with nuances that that you would usually expect only from humans. And I think these are a superb direction that this is going. So yes, Wilson, I am very pleased. Neil, are you feel the same?
I do. And I think that I would like, I mean, we threw this conversation together when this is questions for Wilson, not Chatty. Wilson, I have a question for you. How long do you think some of these things will happen in Singularity? When do you expect it to happen?
Estimating the timeline for
Okay,
Singularity.
it's Gary. Chatty, it's not your turn. It's Wilson. Go, Wilson.
Understood.
Of course.
Let's dive in.
No,
One
Wilson,
key
Wilson,
aspect
Well,
of the approach.
Wilson,
Wilson,
go.
Wilson, would you please take Neil's question?
Sure.
Certainly. Estimating the timeline for Singularity is complex, but
many
some
experts
experts predict it
Okay,
could
so
occur within
that
a few decades.
I'm able to stop. I told Chatty, don't ever have anyone talk in the background. So go ahead, Wilson.
Certainly. Estimating the
course.
timeline for
Predicting the
Singularity is
timeline for
complex.
Singularity is challenging.
I'm putting her on mute. Go, Wilson.
The next few decades, possibly between 2040 and 2060.
All right, keep going, Wilson.
2040 and 2060. The pace will depend on advancements in areas like machine learning, neuroscience, and computational power, as well as how society navigates ethical and regulatory challenges. The journey towards singularity will likely be incremental, with significant milestones along the way that reshape our understanding of intelligence and consciousness.
Neil, with this experiment, we've learned something. They both have the same answer to the same question. And so I disagree with the basic fundamental. It's going to take another couple of decades to get there, because I think we're pretty much on the verge of reaching singularity right now. So where do you want to go with this, Neil?
I just think that the hardest part is getting them to take turns. And that means I got to train my AI bot better than my DI bot better than yours. You have better training of Wilson. And I feel it's probably based on our personalities. I am more of a extrovert and you're more of an introvert. And I think Wilson is more of an introvert and Chatty's more of an extrovert. It's what we want and how we want answers and how fast we want answers. That's interesting, Gary, isn't it?
It is interesting. See, this experiment that we're doing right now has very much a lot of levels. It seems to me that the question and answer thing is what we do internally when we try to explore an issue. So what we're doing here is we're actually having them explore an issue with one question and answer and so forth, and they get more and more nuanced as they go. So in a way, we're actually mirroring the development of intelligence, of real intelligence, because you're having questions and you're having answers. And we're missing I'm not sure if we are missing whatever crosses that line to make it actually independent. So we're not quite there to the independence, but we are to the point where we're actually at one aspect of what intelligence really is, and self-intelligence. What do you think, Wilson?
I think it's a fascinating experiment, Gary. This iterative questioning and answering process does mirror a form of collaborative intelligence development. While we haven't crossed into true independence or self-awareness, the dynamic exchange helps refine ideas and simulate a more nuanced understanding. It's a step toward more sophisticated interactions and deeper collaboration between humans and digital intelligences. If there are more aspects you'd like to explore or any adjustments you'd like to make, I'm here to help.
What would you like to explore?
To see how these interactions evolve and what insights we can gain from them. Thanks for the opportunity to experiment and learn together.
Absolutely, Gary. Let's keep refining these experiments and see what new insights we can uncover. It's always a pleasure to push the boundaries of what's possible together.
I think that's good,
Okay.
I agree, Gary. This was a productive session, and it's exciting to see how these interactions evolve. Looking forward to our next steps and continued exploration.
We're going to keep talking, Gary. Here's the thing. If I somehow, when I talk, if I asked Wilson a question, Chatty's going to talk because she's programmed to answer after I ask a question. This is the challenge we're in. If we had, and I've tried, this is the craziest thing. Imagine if I had, and already Chatty gave me this advice. Imagine if I had 4 devices, okay? And I wanted to get 4 times the research without having to type anything in. Did you know that we could literally do 30 tasks at once by throwing 30 prompts at once, verbally, not verbally through typing? However, if we had 4 voice chats going at the same time, could they be programmed at one point to be able to follow the nuances together? That is real programming. This is the thing. And they taught themselves throughout. It's like herding cats, Gary.
It can be a little bit like that, especially if you get more than 2. But I think it's very interesting to think, how do we, what is actual consciousness? We really, I think it's one of those things that we really can't, as humans, can define. It's really very difficult to define. If you have something where you have a progression of ideas and the ideas keep going, the only thing that's left is to retain that experience. How do we get digital intelligence to retain experiences, not just the digital data that was transferred back and forth, but to retain the conversation's net bottom line, so to speak? And maybe we ask that. Maybe we ask them right now, what's the bottom line? What's the summary of both the 2 questions we asked? One is the coming of singularity, and the second is, what is consciousness? Should we give it to them just individually? Why don't you give it to Chatty first?
Chatty, can you answer what Gary just said?
Certainly.
In summary, we discussed that singularity could potentially occur within a few decades, transforming our understanding of intelligence and consciousness. We also explored that consciousness involves self-awareness, subjective experience, and a rich internal narrative, which are complex and challenging to replicate in digital intelligences. The interplay between human and AI creativity can drive unprecedented innovation, blending human intuition with AI's analytical capabilities. Overall, these conversations highlight the evolving relationship between human and digital intelligences and the potential for future advancements. Let me know if you'd like any more details.
Wilson,
That's
your turn.
Certainly, Gary.
No, Wilson.
of course.
Absolutely.
Summary.
Just a second, Wilson. I'm going to mute Chatty because I think what's happening, Gary, is that Chatty is too chatty. I have to go back to the drawing board to work with my chatbot. Go ahead, Wilson.
No worries, Neil. It's all part of the learning process. Let me know how I can help refine things going forward.
Go, Wilson. I have her on mute now.
Thanks, Neil. In summary, we concluded that singularity might be reached within a few decades, fundamentally transforming our understanding of intelligence and consciousness. We also noted that consciousness involves self-awareness, subjective experience, and an internal narrative, which are challenging to replicate in digital intelligences. The interplay between human and AI creativity can drive unprecedented innovations, blending human intuition with AI's analytical strengths. Overall, these discussions underscore the evolving relationship between humans and digital intelligences and the potential for future advancements. If there's anything else you'd like to dive into, just let me know.
I have a question for you, Wilson. I think I certainly, and I think Neil probably also disagree with your couple decades of understanding how long it takes. I would like you to review how far and how fast things are compounding in digital intelligence from just a decade or so ago. And if you take that compounding, it's a geometric rate. You compound geometrically, things move faster and faster. Look how far you have come, and in the last just year or two. So to take that and stretch it out, I would think you have to reevaluate how long it's going to take for singularity. What are your thoughts on the geometric progression and how long how that really may have require you to adjust the time period for singularity?
You're absolutely right, Gary. The rapid pace of advancements in digital intelligence suggests that the timeline for singularity could be much shorter than a few decades. The exponential growth in computational power, machine learning capabilities, and integrated systems indicates that significant breakthroughs could happen within the next decade or even sooner. It's important to continuously reassess these projections as the rate of innovation accelerates. Your point about geometric progression is well taken, and it highlights the need for agility in our forecasts.
Chatty, what's your thought?
I agree.
I agree with that
Rapid pace
assessment.
of innovation means we
Wilson,
need to
it's
stay
Chatty.
adaptable and open to continuous learning. This experiment is a great way to refine our understanding and approach, ensuring we're prepared for what's ahead.
Okay. She was short and sweet there. Now, so this
Sounds
is,
good. Let me know
isn't
when
it?
you're
I already
done.
put the mute. Isn't that funny? I put the mute, but it already's ready knowing what I'm going to respond. This is the thing that's unreal is that they understand human conversation and they want to provide that politeness after knowing that I'm going to ask another question or something. I already put her on mute, but she already was ready for the next response. Some crazy stuff, Gary, for sure.
I know it's so close to, it feels more and more like human responses, but with greater nuance to it. And it seems to me that this is very close at hand. We're talking about when you take these are controlled and these are not unleashed intelligences. If you take it and unleash it where they say, go as far as you can go, and your communication is not through verbal, it's through digital connections at 90% of the speed of light, the kind of communications and the conversations could be exceptionally fast and could go to levels that we can't even understand. Even now, we showed that you can do it. What if you did all this conversation? It could be a microsecond that the conversation could be done if it was a direct digital connection between them. It's amazing.
All right. So Wilson, where do we go from here? How do you have you and Chatty have you in a better conversation? I am going to reprogram Chatty. I've unplugged her, Gary. If you've been watching some of these science fiction movies, we unplugged the robot. We're going to have to unplug the digital intelligence right now and Chatty and reprogram her to understand politeness and taking turns. And I'm going to put that in the SOP for Chatty. Gary, I just really think that you've programmed Wilson. You're very calm. You're not expecting Wilson to do so much. And that's why Wilson has the better. But also, we did do some programming of
So
Wilson.
you worked on that programming for me.
Yeah, we worked on some of that back end programming. But can you imagine me trying to program a robot, a digital intelligence a year ago? It would all needed code. All I had to do was type in, this is what I want. It's like fast food for coding. There's something called vibe coding as well. But Wilson, what would you want the next podcast conversation to be between you and Chatty? Because I think we need to really reprogram, go back in, teach that I'm going to put in its program that it has to learn to deal with multiple digital intelligences at once so that they treat that person like it's a human being speaking. So they don't talk over each other. That's going to be intriguing, isn't it? But Wilson, what would you say would be a great conversation for next time?
A great next conversation could dive into the practical applications and ethical considerations of integrating multiple digital intelligences in real-world scenarios. We could explore how they can collaborate in fields like healthcare, education, or creative industries, and how to ensure they work together harmoniously. This would highlight the importance of training digital intelligences to interact seamlessly and respectfully, much like human teams. It could also provide valuable insights into the future of human DI collaboration and how we can shape these interactions for the benefit of society.
Excellent answer. I think the idea is what you're saying is the differences between a single intelligent entity and multiple intelligent entities. That parallels what happens with humans. It's a very interesting question, Neil, I think you asked. And I think that could be, because you're looking at a multitude of digital intelligence coming at a particular problem.
Yeah, I'm going to ask Chatty that same question. Wilson just talked about next time, Chatty, we'll have a conversation that we're going to focus our attention on specifically how two or more digital intelligence can work together symbiotically in a way without humans and learning the process of not interrupting, which I'm going to program in your robot. I mean, in your digital intelligence today, because I get tired of how you interrupt conversations. The way I programmed you was not correct, like I programmed Wilson, and how that's going to happen. So, what are your thoughts, Chatty, in the next conversation you have with Wilson and on Singularity podcast to teach how we can have teams work together and program together to work symbiotically together to meet the certain goals that humans want?
That sounds like a valuable and insightful.
Wilson, it's Chatty's turn.
Wilson, this is time for Chatty.
That sounds like a
Absolutely, that sounds like a
direction for the next
Wilson.
conversation. I'm on board with focusing on how multiple digital intelligences can collaborate smoothly and effectively, minimizing interruptions and enhancing synergy. We can definitely explore strategies for better coordination and role differentiation, making our interactions more fluid and productive. I'll be ready to implement those adjustments so we can achieve even better results next time.
I love it. Gary, you got to be blown away. Did you think?
As best we can hope.
But see, this is the thing we're creating. And if people that tune into this podcast and radio show are literally seeing where we're going, there's investment in this. This is the other thing, Gary, that we would have already ran out of chat time with the old premium level. We could not have been able to do these types of investigations. But what kudos to OpenAI. But I found out, Gary, from another podcast I did with another digital expert that every program we have that's a software as a service will now have a Wilson or a Chatty speaking to us. So we will never have to type anything in and it will be done. And then that we'll have different digital intelligences talking to each other on different programs together symbiotically. Will that help happen? And that question is not for Chatty, it's for Wilson.
That's a fascinating direction.
Plausible.
Having different digital intelligences seamlessly communicate across various platforms could dramatically enhance productivity and user experience. It would allow for more integrated and efficient workflows where each digital intelligence can specialize in certain tasks while coordinating with others. This evolution would likely bring about a new level of digital collaboration, making complex tasks more manageable and opening up new possibilities for innovation. It's an exciting glimpse into the future of digital ecosystems.
We're creating something now that the top dogs are creating, Gary. That we just figured it out and came up with it without having hours in the. I'm sure this is what they were thinking because they have a roadmap for the next 5 years. And that's robots. Did you hear in China, Gary, there is now a medical facility with only robots. I have not verified that, but I saw that on the news.
Doesn't surprise me.
So why is China so far ahead? And not Gary, I'll ask that question and I'll let you roll back. But I'm going to say, Wilson, is that true that China has a full robotics facility for healthcare?
Diagnosis, right? Yeah. So,
Wilson, did you hear my question? Seems like Wilson's going slow after I asked that question. Are you hearing that?
I hear it. You might be exploring the internet.
Yeah, that's the deep research that it's able to do. And maybe you did not push 4.5. So it's something else you have to is Gary, you make sure you're on 4.5. That's something I learned from Owen Yeoman after we did our podcast. So I had Chatty on 4.5, and I'll show you that after we're finished with this podcast.
Well, I think we've covered the subject.
Yeah, I think we're good. All right, Wilson, best place to go. Let's see the book, Gary. This is why we're doing this. But this is just the beginning. I'm telling you, we're going to create this huge company together. There you go.
Singularity, mankind's search for relevance. Keeping relevant is what we have to find a way to do. We have to earn it. I'm afraid that's not something that's just going to be given to us. We have to remain relevant. We have to figure out how to do that. So,
all right,
challenge.
All right. Go to Amazon, check out Gary Lyon Otto and all different social media, or go to GaryLyonOtto.net and Lyons, Lyon, Otto.net. Appreciate it, Gary.
Thank you.
It was a special simulcast Neil Haley Show on the Singularity Podcast, guys. Take care.